Getting your product on TV is the ultimate in public relations for any small or medium business. But how do I get my business on TV? I'm Jamie Gorman, host of Be Better at Business TV, and I'm here this morning with four-time Emmy Award-winning journalist Jan Fox, now of Fox Talks, The Power of Tweaks. And we're going to talk about how do you get your business on TV, but also what do you do when you get there. Good morning, Jan.
Good morning, Jamie. Fun to be here.
Great. Well, Jan is the author of No MuuMuu Please, How to Land a Guest Spot on TV, and What to Do When You Get There. So Jan, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your book, and please, you've got to start with the title, No MuuMuu Please.
Did you even know what a MuuMuu was when you saw it?
I didn't.
You know, I can't.
I could say I did. You know, if it was my kids, of course I know everything, and I would say I did, but
I have to tell you, when I started thinking about this book, the last thing I thought about was the title. It was just get on TV and what to do when you get there is what I had in my mind, because that was the answer to that big question, right? And then I remembered a story. So here's the story.
all right.
A woman wore one of these. This is a MuuMuu. And she wore one of these to an interview out on a pier, a live shot pier out in Gloucester, Massachusetts. At the end of the segment, we're sitting in captain's chairs. You know what captain's chairs are? Those things with hinges?
Yeah.
She gets up to walk away, and I hear scrape, and and she looks around. She takes 3 more steps. I hear the scrape of the chair. She looks around, it's still sitting there. She doesn't know to unhook it, and she keeps dragging the chair and yelping. So my rule is, when you get to be on TV, don't wear a MuuMuu, all right? Don't laugh. I got some things in there for guys, too. Okay?
There is. I've read it, and there's some very good tips. In fact, I'd like to, Alyssa and I have talked about getting a bunch of these and sending them about 4 weeks before we have people on the show.
Absolutely.
And doing that. So we'll have to talk about doing it. Then I just have to book my guests 4 weeks in advance so they have time to get the book and read
Well,
it.
that book is the fastest read in the history of mankind.
It was a very quick
It's
and
a fast read.
So.
But the great thing about it is, even if you only read the back half of what to do when you get there, there are tips in there just about having a conversation.
Right.
There are tips in there about just how to relate. And so it's good for whether you end up on TV or not, you end up being a better communicator.
Well, and that's a good point, because what I found after I read it, I probably haven't integrated all the things, and you can correct me when we're done, but it also helped me just in one-on-one conversations.
Absolutely.
Or when I'm speaking to a class, I'm doing a class, you know, one of the things is try to smile more, and it takes time to do that, those
Yes.
types of things. And so I've been able to integrate that into some of my other public speaking as well, which
See,
is great.
you just write me a little note about that, and it'll stick on the back of the book, okay, the next revision, all right? Well, here's my thing about it. The producer is great. They're kind to you, but they're very quick. Do this,
Right.
do this, sit here. Just
They're
do
the
as they
efficiency
say.
expert in the business model, right?
Don't bring an entourage. You are not 50 Cent. You do not need 20 people. Don't even bring your wife. Just come in, you're a business person, sit down, do your thing. Don't bring the kids. They can watch it on film,
Right.
on tape, on video,
Yes.
on the link.
Whatever. We can do it all right now.
Yes,
That's the
right.
great thing.
There it is. Okay, they can watch that later. And so just do what the producer says, and know beyond a shadow of a doubt that 90% of the interviewers are going to be blowhards. They want to hear themselves talk, so they will ask very long questions, and they may or may not be interested in your answer, so you give them 15 seconds, 15 to 20 seconds, and I look to make sure that it's a tweetable bite.
Right.
Have I had a couple today?
Couple, yeah.
A couple tweetable
When you're
bites.
holding up that
lobster.
lobster, yeah, I think we can do something with that.
Okay. So you try to, and I'm not a 15 or 20 second answer person. Nobody ever accused me of being concise. I'm
Right.
here to explain the world, I'm
Yeah.
explaining everything. But so I try to just say, speak in 15 or 20 second soundbite answers. Make sure there's something that somebody's going to want by them. Those answers are going to be something that somebody will read and get something from by itself, because
Right.
that's sometimes all that ends up out on the air somewhere. And then the other thing is, when the interviewer wants to talk, you let him talk. He can interrupt you, but you can't interrupt him.
Right.
The guest can. And so I just
That's
find
right. That's right. I should remember that now. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
How many times have I interrupted you already?
No, you haven't. That's me.
I probably have. So what happens is, the people are so intent on getting their material out that they try to interrupt, and then they just look arrogant and rude.
Right.
So just go at his pace. Now, Jamie's laid back. Can we use you as an example? He's laid back.
Okay.
So if I were on the crazy edge, I would just kind of copy his demeanor. I'm a loud speaker, he's a soft speaker. If I were doing this properly, I would talk at his level because he has set the level. He's also set the pace. So I know that I can't do my normal Gatling gun thing to go da 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 da. He's got a certain pace, so I just match his pace. So I never have to worry about my volume because I've got a microphone on and somebody's writing it. And as long as I'm matching him, I'm not overpowering. And as long as I'm not going under him, he doesn't look like a bully. So those
Well,
are
it's
little
good, and
things
to be a good interviewee, and you've been doing that. And I'm glad that, I hope that I'm not a blowhard.
No.
But,
I said only 90%. He's one of the 10%.
But I really like to have these discussions because when I bring in the experts, I really like to listen, and I learn. So I'm learning something today. I had Basile Lembaugh here a couple weeks ago, and I learned about trade shows. You know,
Oh,
so
sure.
I like to learn the things as well, and that really helps out. So you also do something called the power of tweaks, and you talk a little bit about it in here. You have a little booklet. I know that's something you speak on. Tell us a little bit about what is the power of tweaks in that concept.
Well, I'm going to give you a very quick concept. Have you bought a, he's making noise, our buddy, our lobster
Yes,
buddy
he's-
over here, he's
he's,
making noise. Have you ever bought a get-rich book? You don't really have to answer, but you know you have. Have you ever bought, you don't look like you've ever bought a diet book, but somebody in your family has bought a diet book, right?
Wait, I don't look because I look fat, or
No,
because
you don't look, you don't look
Look
like
I
you
need
need
it.
to go on a diet.
All right, thank you.
today. And it would be a waste of my time to buy a Get Organized book, all right?
Right.
But we buy these books. We go to all the training sessions. And you tell me what happens.
We learn about the first 20 minutes, and that registers with us, and we spend the rest of the day how we need to use the first 20 minutes in our life.
Right. And what happens when you get in your car? What's the first thing you do?
The first thing you do is you go back to your normal daily business of checking your phone, checking your messages, checking your email. Oh, not email in the car.
No, never.
Okay. But yeah, so you go back to your normal daily life, all the things you missed while you were in this valuable training session.
And even in this 20 minutes that you think you learned something, do you do anything with it?
Very rarely.
Very rarely. I say that's because we've just experienced a huge cloud of overwhelm.
Right.
It's too much. We know we can't do it. We know we don't have enough time to do it. Great idea. I'll think about it in the future. But there's no starting point.
Right.
So I call a tweak an action step. And I don't think it's an action step from where we are. I think we move back 5 steps and then say, okay, I can start something. And then what happens is that tweak reveals another possible one.
Right.
And all of a sudden, when we've been stalled for who knows how long, we've started action. My perfect example is my neighbor calls, Foxy, let's go walking. Sure, we'll go walking. Nothing happens.
Right.
A couple days later, okay, what's going to happen here? Are we going walking or what? Oh, yeah, we'll go walking. Nothing. A little while later, I call her. Okay, Jerusha, what's the deal? She says, well, I need to buy a new pair of sneakers. I said, for goodness sake, buy a pair of sneakers, put them by the front door, but don't put them on. Just put them by the front door. Take them out of the box, put them by the front door. Sure enough, a couple days later, okay, they're talking to me. I got the sneakers on. Can we walk? Yes, and we've been walking ever since. But that wasn't buying a marathon map. It wasn't buying a fancy running suit,
Right.
not checking a pedometer.
Yes.
It was just buy a pair of sneakers. You don't even have to put them on because that would be tweak too. Just
Yeah.
put them by the door.
Well, I can really see how that works. I do, for small businesses and medium business, I do business planning. I work
Right.
some with social media, I do education. But that's one of the things that people get caught up in their business plans, and it's just overwhelming. Well, I need to do all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, just start with one page and just ask where you want this business to go. Right? Just start slow and be able to, social media is horrible because as soon as you say I'm on Facebook, like, are you on Twitter? Are you on Google Plus? Are you on YouTube? You're like, oh my gosh. So my clients, I'm like, look, do 3 posts on Facebook this week. If you can do that, we can build on that. So I love that idea of tweaking.
Just simple.
Yes.
And it might not even be do 3 Facebook posts this week for me because I'm the step backwards first
Right.
person. I'd say write up 3 things. Just give me a paragraph each on what you've done in the last couple weeks that you really love.
Yes.
Then that'd be tweak 1. Tweak 2 would be, okay, let's look at this. Okay, we can use this and this. Okay, right? Okay. Tweak 3 is, okay, now post it.
Yeah, I like that stepping back and kind of looking
It's
at it a
stepping
little bit.
back. And nobody wants to step back because guess why? You mentioned it.
Yeah,
The big business plan.
that's right.
How many of you have the big strategic plan? Well, everybody needs one. I wish mine were better and tighter. I wish I followed it. Every business has to have that.
Right.
At the same time, it can become the ball and chain around their necks.
Yes.
They can't move. There's a weight, there's a big weight of that strategic plan on their backs. And so that's what I try to do with small businesses, entrepreneurs, even managers of sales teams, whatever it takes, whoever I'm in front of, I try to say, and you want this, and we're here. All right, I know you're not going to want to believe this, but let's move backwards, and we will find starting points.
That's great.
And we'll develop baby plans for the big plan.
Yes. Well, hey, I wish I could be here all day, but we're running out of time. And so what I'd like to do is, you've talked about your book, you've talked about the power of tweaks. Is there anything else you'd like to just share about Fox Talks and where you're going with it?
Well, the title came because my husband named the company, and he said, because yes, she does. So what I do is I speak about the power of tweaks, and I do it from a couple of points of view. One is a business point of view, and then I also do it from the personal point of view for people who basically want to come unglued. They just want to get their feet off that glue spot and work. So I do they border on empowerment messages, and so but I give them specifics.
Yes.
And I talk about the 3 R's, resilience, resourcefulness, and also the one that nobody talks about, which is resolve.
Yes.
So we throw that one in there, and I have some images about what that looks like.
Great.
That always it's good for a laugh.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I do is I do seminars on the power of tweaks, and I do seminars on how to land on television. I do seminars on speak better, sell more. Because that's the only thing I know how to do.
Right.
I mean, if you look at a 30-year career in television, people say, well, what are your skills? Well, you have to think, and the only thing that comes out is I talk. All right? So I teach people to speak better. If people come to visit me, within a couple of sessions, they notice a big difference.
That's great. And a big difference in speaking can help you, not just public speaking, but just even in that individual aspect of it that's so important when you're selling your product or talking about yourself.
And you know, every entrepreneur is a salesperson first, or they don't have a business.
Absolutely.
So we have to sell ourselves, we have to sell our products, we have to sell people on the idea of working with us, and on the promise of how great it's going to be.
Right.
It might not be at the moment. So we're just selling all the time.
Yeah.
So I know that you know people who are not as smart as you, not as gifted, not as well planned, not that, but they just stepped at the front of the line to talk for a little bit, and then you're going, wait, now not you because you're a great speaker, but the you out there. You see what I'm saying? People get ahead because they speak,
Yes.
not because of what they know.
Right.
I didn't have journalism school. I watched I Love Lucy on my neighbor's television, so I didn't know that you could be a journalist. But it was just talking my way into a few things, and then I just had inertia for 30 years.
Just getting up and do it.
That's right.
Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Jamie Gorman, the host of Be Better at Business TV, and also the CEO of Sigma Business Management, where we help small and medium businesses with their planning, education, and also meeting facilitation. Thanks for joining us, and I hope that you can use this to be better at business.